Are they simply counting ineligible or bogus ballots over and over again? To discuss this, I want to bring in Republican Congressman Rick Allen of Georgia. Congressman, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Grant. Good to be here with you.
Well, it's great to have you on. I'm sorry under these circumstances. So it seems like this recount is a mess. And is it even legitimate, this recount?
I don't believe it's legitimate. No, the Secretary of State there, rather than to answer the concerns of voters who have a right to those answers, has been actually defending his position, and he's been defending the equipment, which is questionable. He's defending how the votes were counted. There were two different standards as far as if you voted in person. You had one standard of voter ID, and if you voted absentee, you had no requirement other than when you applied for the ballot. And so then the signatures, as we understand it, many of the signatures as the votes were counted, which is the only way you can validate absentee ballots, had to be checked, and many of those were not checked. And it's interesting that states like Ohio and Florida had their results by midnight of election night, Georgia's days later. And as those days went on and those absentee ballots were counted, President Trump, who had a substantial lead in the vote, gradually lost that lead, as well as Senator Perdue did in his race, which has been thrown into a runoff.
Well, we know across the country, Congressman, we know across the country, when you look at the percentage of ballots thrown out, it is far less this time around, including in Georgia, than it was back in 2016, which then leaves me wondering, are the counters not throwing out the ballots with the irregular signatures or no signature at all, and they simply pushing them on through?
Well, that's why our delegation has sent a letter to the Department of Justice requesting that they do a thorough investigation of this counting process and an investigation as to the compliance of these ballots. And again, it's a problem because, like I said, if you go and vote in person, there's a different standard, and you have equal protection under the law. So why wouldn't the standard for absentee ballots be the same as if you showed up and went to vote in person? That's outlandish.
Yeah, it absolutely is. All right, so we go from the election. We've got the Senate race we still have to think about. I want to play you a soundbite from one of the challengers to the Republicans, this Reverend Warnock character, just to get a feel for what we're up against. Let's roll it.
So in Ferguson, police power showing up in a kind of gangster and thug mentality. You know how you can wear all kinds of colors and be a thug. You can sometimes wear the colors of the state and behave like a thug.
Well, that's from 4 years ago, and he's talking about police there, calling them thugs, Congressman.
Yes, let me tell you, Georgia is not a socialist state. We're the 8 years in a row best state to do business. And what we have is a clear contrast in this election. We have the two candidates that, if they're elected on the Democratic side, Ossoff and Warnock, when Schumer said on Times Square that everything's on the table, they're going to be with him. Yeah. And what you're looking at is court packing, defunding the police, and closing down our economy. And none of those things will work in Georgia.
No, it's why, Congressman, you must hold the line in that state. And I know you got the backing of our viewers here from across the country, and I'm telling everybody, do what you can to make sure that Georgia holds the line. Congressman, I appreciate you coming on. I know it's a busy time for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.